Ladies and gentlemen, SideStrafe back with some more War Thunder Ground Forces closed beta test footage. And as I'm sure most of you are aware, they are continuously swapping out tanks for us to try out and test. And right now they've added in some Tier 1 vehicles. And we're taking a look at two matches featuring the Panzer III. And this is the F variant. That means that it's got a 50mm main gun. The original Panzer IIIs were equipped with a 37mm, I believe, which of course quickly became inadequate, especially against Russian armor. But right now, my thought process is that I want to flank, perhaps head towards their base and hit Bravo if I can. But we're going to see if we can come up around this side. I'm always watching my flanks, making sure that nobody's going to come up and hit my weaker side armor. Now, this thing, of course, doesn't have a whole lot of armor to begin with, but it is pretty mobile. The real Panzer IIIs, I believe, maxed out at about 40 kilometers an hour, and I don't think that changed too much. We're talking about a 24 or so ton tank, and that would mean that the cross-country speed is going to be even less than that. Now, in this game, for some reason, currently in beta as it is, they've got a top speed listed at about 60 to 67 kilometers an hour. That could just be a bug or an error. Maybe they're counting some sort of downhill speed. I don't know. You're generally not going to see that happen unless you're going down a mountain in this game. We might see us bypass 40 kilometers in this match, but we'll keep an eye on it throughout these games. But you can see that we've got a Zeiss 30 on the left there. I believe that's how you pronounce it, Zeiss or Zis or Zeiss, I'm not sure. And that's, of course, a Russian tank destroyer with a 57mm long barrel cannon. Definitely good if you want that penetrating power. But with this 50mm on the Panzer III, it's got a lot of velocity behind it. So really great for shoot and scoot tactics. If you can figure out the weak spots of a tank, you're generally gonna make it through a side of a tank, or perhaps a driver hatch or something like that, if that's all you've got to aim at. My rule of thumb is to pretty much figure out what tank you're fighting and memorize where the ammo racks are. Go for that ammunition, because with this 50mm, it might be a lower caliber compared to later guns, but with the penetrating power it has, you can generally get into the ammo rack and cause a catastrophic explosion. But here you can see on the minimap we're getting really close to their spawn point, so I have to watch my right. And there's a lot of shrubbery and trees, all kinds of foliage up front there. You can see we got a fast-moving T-34. Now, he's a big threat because he's got that sloped armor. He's the tough cookie this round of beta, and you really don't want to run into him with this tank. You can penetrate him. It's just that the round seems to lose a lot of power getting through that sloped armor. So, contact up top there. Other Panzer III, it looks like. We take a hit, but his commander's out. I decide to back off and stall the engagement. This is, of course, a game where you can get one-shotted, so I don't want to give him the opportunity. And he looks like he's in a fixed position, which means he's sitting still, ready to take his next shot, where I'm still mobile. And so I'm going to decide to come around here and maybe get a flank shot if possible. You know, I've been all over most of these maps at this point, but, you know, there's still new areas that you come across, and this is one of them. I wasn't sure how far that I could drive, but you can see we've got his indicator on the other side of this rock. I don't know if he's been spotted by somebody else or what the deal is. I'm just looking for him, but he's found me as well. Not really good positioning on my part, but I was hoping the rock would cover me. We fire into him there, and we need to get one more shot. There it is for the kill. And we got kind of lucky there, but we did have that rock protecting most of our flank, so that wasn't too bad. So I'm going to back out here, and you can see that getting through this terrain can be problematic. I just wanted to back off and make sure that I wasn't going to get engaged by a fresh tank. And I'm also just watching my side here and hoping that nobody else comes up behind me or perhaps pegs me from a long range. Now at this point, unfortunately, we've lost most of the objectives. I'm thinking that I'd like to hit Bravo at least, but it's difficult because I'm seeing, you know, some things light up on this right side, and I'm thinking that they're just going to spawn behind me. So that was my main concern. I kept feeling like something was just going to hit me in the back, and that would have been the end of it. Especially when we're talking about me being in a Panzer III. Now we've got another target. High speed here. Look at him just flying. I fire a good lead there. Same tank that I'm in, the F. And that was downhill speed. So we fire another one. It looks like it's going into his back. Maybe the engine compartment. Shot out. Last one hits. And surface unit destroyed. Looks like it went into his engine compartment. And I believe set him on fire there. So that was actually a good kill. He probably had no idea what hit him. But that is a good example of being impatient. Just wanting to get to an objective fast. So here we go. We've got another Panzer III. And I'm kind of trying to grab some of this cover, maintain a hull down position, and see if I can get a target on him. Target hit, undamaged. Same, my armor manages to absorb his fire. And I'm thinking that if I push the tank forward going into the hill, he's not going to be able to shoot at me anymore. And I've also got this bunker to the left that's providing some cover as well. It's also going to allow me to look to the right while I'm protected on that side. And we can hear some plane fire up above. I'm not sure if it's hostile. Target sighted, surface unit destroyed. And that was a Panzer II, I believe. It doesn't really pose a major threat to us. He's only got a 20mm main gun, but he can fire out quite a few shots. And if he does get to my flank, that might be a problem. So I'm mostly worried about that. I'm seeing that we're down by 2 objectives. I'm kind of pinned by this guy on the left, so it's hard for me to move forward. We did manage to recap Charlie, and I'm thinking, okay, I want to go towards an objective, but then I'm seeing these tracers coming out across here and wondering if that's something that I'm also going to have to deal with. I'm looking, you can see I'm just looking all directions, watching my flanks, because I'm really vulnerable here by their spawn. And it seems to be clear for now, but we're just too close to losing this. We do have at least one tank trying to recapture Bravo. And I have seen some crazy comebacks. I'm going over there to assist, but then there's where that tracer fire was coming from. That's 20mm from a Panzer II. I'm bringing the armor front so he doesn't get my weak spots. And I'm trying to put some rounds into him, but you can see he's angled himself pretty well here. So I don't really have any great places to shoot at. I am penetrating. His commander and driver go down. Trying to get into those weak points. I'm thinking, well, let me just fire a round at your turret. Maybe I can, you know, stop your gun a little bit. There goes his horizontal turret drive. So that was that. And it gets to a certain point where it says waiting for results, where I don't think you can actually eliminate a tank, but not a bad little flanking maneuver there. Not necessarily something I recommend you do on a regular basis. It's probably best that you bring a wolf pack for that type of maneuver. That way you can have a couple of guns facing the enemy spawn while you perhaps deal with forward threats or capturing any available objectives. But not bad, you know, again, for a test. We don't need to overanalyze it. My main focus, as I've said before, is doing damage, testing out the damage modeling system as well as physics. But moving right along, we've got Kuban and the Panzer III once again. This is a good map to test out a tank's mobility and range. So at this point, I'm probably looking at the minimap and thinking about where I'm going to end up. Charlie's the obvious location, as it does put you into a more concealed position once you're there. But there's a lot of open terrain here, very easy to get sniped. You can see we've got a T-60 flying across the battlefield, opening fire on Mother Nature, it seems. Looks like it's wronged him in some ways. But we also have an SPG of some sort out in the distance, and I'm thinking, well, let's go ahead and take a pop shot. You can see one round actually flying over us. Very low velocity shot, and possibly 75mm short barrel. But I'm thinking, you know what, I'm not going to do any more of that. It's just a waste of time at that range. And I'm going to back off a little bit because I want to take a right. And you want to be careful about firing too much, because everybody's always looking for your muzzle flash to find out your location. Or they're watching for those puffs of smoke as well. So you're going to see this thing go beyond maximum speed right now. You can see we've already broken 40, entering into 50. And a little bit of a hiccup there. Frame rate spike. Not sure what's causing those. And you can see we actually do manage to get into the 60s there once again and start slowing down here. So perhaps the game is listing a maximum 60 plus kilometers an hour on the stat card when you are going downhill. Again, if you look at books, generally they don't list that type of speed. They only list maximum road speeds and then cross country, as I've mentioned before. But here you can see we've got some explosions happening up above. Looks like an artillery strike. And I'm thinking I'm going to assist here. Maybe just try to get into a hull down position. Showing the turret only and backing off when necessary. You can see we've got some fires up ahead as well. And the T-34 up front, which again is probably one of the best armored tanks this round of a beta. And I think I've got some allies coming up behind me as well. You can see that the enemy holds most of the objectives. Charlie is being contested though. You can see we've got some fire coming off the ridge. I'm about to point at it. And that's how you want to look for muzzle flash, especially if you're going to play a mode where they do get rid of nameplates. You're going to be relying on that. And sometimes when you're firing at targets, you're going to want to fire 1 or 2 shots, then relocate because they know where you're shooting from. The thing is here is I've got a lot of grass and shrubbery blocking them, so it's really hard to pinpoint their location. The only thing that I've got really that lets me find them is kind of that X there, which again will probably be gone in realistic battles. But as you can see, we got another muzzle flash there on the right. Constant explosions. Boom, that muzzle flash. That's always what's drawing attention. And you can see it looks like we've got some lower caliber rounds bouncing off the terrain there as well. I've got a few allies on the ridge here with me, just trying to get the right shots off on these targets. Now, we control Charlie, and there's not too much need to move into their spawn point, but I'm wanting to kind of back up some of these other tanks a little bit at least and push them away from these ridge lines. Lots of artillery firing as well. So we need to be careful. You saw that shot in the valley there come through. I want to make sure I stay glued to this right side as we speed in to this rock formation. Tanks just exploding all over the place. T-34 trying to push forward. There's another one up front as well. Here's this BT. He gets brewed up immediately coming around that bend. I fire a quick shot. Hits the suspension of this Panzer. Not enough. Just an assist there. He surprised me a little bit. T-34 pushing up. I want them to be the forward line here. I don't want to go up in front of them. However, I do feel that some of these guys are pushing up a little bit too much, as we do control Alpha and Charlie. I didn't necessarily think we needed to keep pushing too much further. This is a really good bottleneck here that you can hold. If you have a good angled armor position, you can try to find some areas that might give you hull down superiority. You let them come in, you have 1 or 2 guns facing the entrance, and the enemy generally doesn't stand a chance because they have to wait for their gun to steady before they can return fire. But you can see there's a big opening out here. There's some wrecks out in the middle as well, so we need to watch out for that. Now here, we're pretty much hulled down from any incoming fire from the right, but again, I'm just mostly concerned with the left, just trying to check the trees and bushes for enemy snipers, if you will. Now, our T-34s are deciding they want to move up. We've got this other Panzer III here, which is actually instrumental in the next few engagements. You can see enemy tank destroyer taken out up top as we manage to get a little closer here. I didn't necessarily want those 34s to move up, but at this point I really wasn't communicating too much via text chat, so I don't know that they would have listened anyway, but it is what it is. So I'm just actually trying to cover them. I'm thinking, well, okay, they've moved up. They can be the assaulters, and if something comes up around, I can maybe lay down some suppressing fire or help snipe. You can see we've got a few other targets over to the left, and I'm just going to try to see what kind of miracles I can pull off with this 50mm at range. Now listen, you'll hear the other Panzer on my left firing along with me, and that's going to help me kind of hold this ridgeline for a little bit here. T-60, lighter tank, but having trouble getting through him. And again, if it wasn't for this little X, I really wouldn't know what to shoot at because of these bushes or bits of grass in front of me. So I'm trying to pull up a little bit. Don't want to expose too much of my hull. Lots of red over there. We're taking some fire, so I need to be careful. One hit, I'm deciding it's time to back off. Another hit inbound. Shot out undamaged. Seeing if I can get some better targets. Deciding to go back to the other. That one going into the terrain. Panzer III next to me. There's some destruction. This guy's facing me broadside. An assist there. Both of us just constantly letting them have it. Good volley of fire here. There's another destruction. T-28. Ugly tank. Taking a beating. Enemy kill assist there. Really good amount of fire there between two Panzers. Constantly just letting them have it. Unfortunately, as you can hear, he's now on fire, so I don't have my good buddy next to me. And they're coming up strong on this right side. This BT just getting that gun around. Brewed him up as he slides into his final resting place. Panzer IV up front. I'm trying to get a few shots into his turret. I really don't want to have to exit this hull down position because, as you can see, there's a lot of red out there. Another BT-7 showing up, and before you know it, right around this bend, Panzer IV, I managed to get a shot into his transmission. I believe he's caught in a reload at this point, but I'm watching his turret. I've got a 50mm, he's got a 75, which means I can reload faster than him, and I've got plenty of penetrating power. I'm just watching his turret. I'm trying to beat his movements, and we do. He's not able to get another shot out, but this BT-7 shows up, and he's now my main threat. I want to get my armor facing him as he's showing me his flank. But before you know it, I'm rammed by what seems to be a Panzer IV here, and that's not fun at all. Now Stug comes in, ramming me again. I really can't get my front armor facing any of these guys. Mountain in the way, engine issues, I'm on fire. I really would love to take this BT-7 with me, but it is just not happening. The fire eventually lands the killing blow. I don't know why I couldn't take out that BT-7, especially with his flank facing me. But I've generally been able to really wreck those BT-7s, especially on side shots. I think maybe the rounds were hitting the tracks, perhaps in some way deflecting the shot. I don't know. It just seemed like bad luck for me there. But I was really proud of the ridge defense we had there. You know, special thanks goes out to that Panzer III that was on my left. That was really how I think you should play this game. You find a good hull down position, let them have it from range, and just absolutely obliterate the opposing force without them knowing what's hitting them. There, we got rammed by two tanks that had a lot of weight behind them. I probably wouldn't have gone for any ramming maneuvers. I probably would have stopped somewhere up top and just fired. They both had short range or short barrel 75mm guns, low velocity, but at that range they probably would have been able to take me out easily, especially knowing that my flank was facing them as I would have angled my armor towards the BT. It was a lose-lose situation. Maybe, if anything, I don't know, I could have driven forward a little bit more to deal with the BT, but as you can see, I ended up with engine problems, and I had a mountain up to my front and right, so I was getting caught on that. And for those of you that haven't played this game yet, you might think that it's easier to maneuver, but once you're in this game, you realize that just simply turning left or right can be difficult at times because the physics are a lot more realistic. And plus, I don't have full mobility upgrades, so that might have hurt me a little bit. I've been focusing, as you can see here, on just getting the turret rotation down, elevation and whatnot, and unlocking the better ammunition. Because in this game, you're not unlocking new guns, you're unlocking ammunition, which is going to have more penetrating power, armor-piercing composite rigid, high explosive anti-tank, so on and so forth. That's the way you upgrade in this game. And really the way I know I play more like a sniper, so having better ammo is generally the way to go, focusing on the accuracy and firepower of my tank. The crew training, I really want to go for gunnery skills first, because, well, that's how you win with damage and getting those points in the destruction area of the game. And you can see here just all the points that I earned on that Panzer III. I'm constantly unlocking components here before we can get to the stat screen. But ladies and gentlemen, once again, I really hope that you're enjoying my coverage of the War Thunder Ground Forces closed beta test. Definitely look forward to bringing you more tanking with standards. So with that said, thank you so very much for joining me. I will definitely see you on the next one.